Hello, everyone. I had this thought the other day that it would be cool to be a vampire. It'd be amazing. But then I also thought, like, what would be the worst parts about being a vampire? Well, yeah. What would be the worst parts about being a vampire? Could be a lot of things. I think, I know I won't be able to eat fried chicken anymore. I'm gonna miss that. Of course I'll be immortal, but everyone else. If I'm the only one a vampire amongst the people that I live with, that I exist around, everyone else would age but me. Which would be kind of interesting, but also sad. But I get to see the world evolve, keep going. But that's if I don't go, if I don't walk into the sunlight, hopefully. You know, and me, I'll be absent-minded. I'll probably like, nah, won't even know what time it is. I'll open the shades and then, ah! And then I have to close it right away, depending. But what else? I can't won't be able to eat chocolate anymore. I mean, I'm trying to reduce on sugar for a while, so I guess that'd be a good pro right there. There you go. This is like a pros and cons kind of thing. Yeah, I think not I think. I know for sure that vampire mythology has made me as like, what's that term? I think vampire mythology made me the way I am. Why do I like a lot of these dark things? People would know that I like horror stuff, pretty gothy at times. One of my favorite vampires, I would say, is maybe from True Blood, Eric Northman, Jessica Hamby, and Bill Compton. And then there's like other characters, not from True Blood, but from other stuff like Blood Rain, Blade, Alucard. But they're Dampirs. That means they're half vampires. This other Dracula. Dracula's also one of my favorites. Finally read the book a couple of years ago. I think Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman is one of my favorite movies. Great movie. I've never seen the older Dracula movies. I don't know why. For some reason, I want to watch them, but then at the same time, I don't want to watch them because maybe I want to. Maybe because the Gary Oldman one just tops it all for me. I did watch the Dracula on Netflix. I thought it was going in the right direction until that finale in the third episode. I was just like, really? That's kind of whack. But yeah, that's the thing with them when they try to do shows on. I don't really have an explanation for that. I just knew it was kind of whack, so. But if you liked it, that's cool. I just thought, like, come on. They could have done better than that. They could have went a better direction, but well. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about my favorite vampires right now. Would Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy VII be considered a vampire? Probably. But he could walk in the daylight. But then again, it's a different world. Castlevania really raised me. I love the game, especially the ones on Super Nintendo. That's the one Castlevania game I always love playing. I still play it today on my Switch. Right now it's Castlevania Symphony of the Night, also one of my favorite video games that requires vampires and demons. Oh, I'm in the upside down castle. Let's go back to the music. But let's go back to what would happen if the worst things about being a vampire. And you can't walk in the sunlight. I mean, you probably can. I remember in the first Blade movie, I guess Deacon Frost, the main bad guy, the vampire, used sunblock to walk outside in the daylight. But I guess the only problem is that you have to continuously keep putting it on, you know. So that would be like that's like the equivalent to my eczema kind of medicine, my lotion, yeah. I guess I'd have to sleep in the coffin, which is fine. Maybe it'll take away my snoring. I hope so. You know, I hope being a vampire would fix my snoring. 'Cause I snore pretty loud from what everyone else tells me. I've heard recording. It was pretty loud, but I couldn't tell if they're sticking if they're recording really close to my face or from far away. So it was hard to say. I think it was far away, but yeah. Can vampires have children though? Like naturally reproduce? I don't know. They always change that somehow. I remember in Blade 2 there was like purebloods, people who were born vampires. So do they just stop aging at a certain time? But then in Blade 2, that girl's dad was like all like Nosferatu decrepit, like, and she still looked young, and she was born a vampire. So I wonder how old her and her dad was. How often do vampires need to sleep? Can they pull all-nighters, or would that be called an all-dayer? Yeah? Say if they wanted to go to a party and then they wanted to just party all day long, right? But then vampires are naturally party people in general, aren't they? Like that was like that in the interview with the vampire, Lestat. I'm still reading the book, by the way. I've seen the movie many times. Also, yeah, Louis and Lestat, they're my favorite. See, I haven't watched the show yet. Maybe I should get around to watching that. I think werewolves would hate me too now, right? If werewolves exist. If I was a vampire, they wouldn't like me, right? I feel like they got it better though. As if let's compare vampires and werewolves. At least werewolves, when you're a werewolf, you're free of all diseases and you can walk into sunlight. But then they did say, but when it's a full moon, they become an uncontrollable monster. They can't control themselves anymore. They just go out and hunt and kill and eat. But is that the same for vampires though? I don't think so. Although in True Blood they did show when Bill, he was a vampire in True Blood, when he was pretty much almost dead, that his vampire instincts kicked in when Sookie was trying to wake him up and he started feeding on her. Those two were lovers in the show. She was human, he was a vampire, and then he fed on her. Almost nearly killed her, but he wasn't even aware that he was doing that to her. I think he even said, like, I think all the blood loss from all the blood that he was from his own body that he lost, and her trying to wake him up, his body just naturally jumped at her and just started feeding on her, which he apologized for and he helped her heal, but she stayed away from him. I missed that show. That show was great. I didn't like the way that ended either. Man. I need to watch Buffy. I didn't watch a lot of that. My cousins did. And I realized too in my family, it seems that me and my cousins just vampires were affiliated. with us somehow. Vampire lore. Yeah. Crazy thing though, I won't be able to drink water anymore either. If I was a vampire. Excuse me. Would do vampires burp? I probably won't be able to do that anymore. I also know that like the powers they get, it's random for all of them, right? So I know every vampires don't have the exact same powers. So if I were to become one, I'd hope I could turn into mist and fly. I think flying is the number one thing that all vampires get, but I would hope to turn into mist and a bat. I'm sure that's common too with vampires. They can turn into bats, but not all of them can. Remember in True Blood, they never turned into bats, but then again, True Blood's a different vampire lore. I watched Twilight once in theaters. I was so confused of what I watched. It took me a week later to realize I hated it. Sorry, any Twilight fans out there, I'm sorry. But what if I became that vampire from Fright Night? I didn't see the old one, I'm talking about the one with Colin Farrell. If I was that kind of vampire, because that guy was pure, basically he was pure evil. He was feeding on anyone. He enjoyed what he did. He liked what he did. It's kind of like Lestat too. He actually liked what he did too. Do you still have a consciousness when you're a vampire? Does it depend? Is that what happens? Like maybe when you become a vampire, that's one of the powers. Do you still get to be yourself, or are you now? I mean, you're practically a monster now, right? But do you have full control of yourself anymore? Or does it bring out the worst in who you are? But for Louis, in Interview with the Vampire, he did kill, but he didn't want to kill. But he killed anyways because he had to feed. Only fed on animals. But then he fed on people too, but he had so much regret doing it. But he had the choice. Or did he have the choice? I gotta finish that book. But for Dracula, he chooses. In the movie, he chose me. In the Bram Stoker's movie with Gary Oldman, he chose Mina to be his bride because she was a reincarnation of his wife Elizabeth before he became a vampire. Before he became Dracula, the Dracula. But in the book, he was just a straight up monster, but he was only hunting Mina. Because in the 90s movie, they gave him that whole story where Mina was just a reincarnation. I think I just repeated that. Yeah, Dracula's he's a complicated man. You know, in that one, he just wants to be with his wife again. After years, you know, it's that famous line. I've spent centuries. I've traveled centuries of time. I'm gonna Google it. Oh, he says to Mina when he finally finds her. And I guess she remembers him from her past life, when her past life was Elizabeth apparently, and then he says to her, "I have crossed oceans of time to find you." My man had the words. Like I'm not surprised her panties were dropping right there. Like wow, good lord, my man, you know. It seemed though the powers that Dracula had, he was able to turn into a wolf, a bat, the really big bat-looking version too, the giant one, and I think he was turned himself into a werewolf for a moment. But that was in the 90s one, the Bram Stoker's Gary Oldman one. Yeah, I guess all the powers are different though, right? For each vampire. What would I be able to work though if I was a vampire? Like, what kind of jobs would I be able to work? You know, like, yeah, I'm definitely wouldn't work at 7-Eleven if I have to be awake during the night. I don't want. I wouldn't want to work somewhere like at a gas station or something. Maybe at a club. What time can I wake up to in the day? Does it depend on daylight savings? You know, like, I think it was in, or like in Blade, he wore sunblock. Deacon Frost wore sunblock to step outside. But I'm guessing I would be able to wake up when I'd be able to walk out when the sun is not completely down, but there's still a little bit of sun left, but not enough to like kill me. You know, just enough to go like, man, it's hot. You know. I don't know. But if I was a vampire, would all the other mythological creatures, would I be able to see them too? Would they come out? Would I know they exist? Like, yeah, like Bigfoot, werewolves again, shapeshifters, all of them, witches, necromancers. That'd be cool. Probably want to be their friends, like if I'm over like 100 years old, like this is the only people I know. Yeah. Well, if not true, then if I get older, I can meet, if my nieces and nephews have kids, I could be their great uncles, their great uncle in a way, you know. I could meet their kids, their kids and kids, their kids. But that's if someone hasn't, you know, if I haven't stepped out in the sunlight or some vampire hunter thought I should die because I'm probably an abomination to, you know, humankind. But it's like, dude, you don't need to kill me. I'm just chilling, alright? I'm only feeding on, you know, people who, yeah, you know, I never thought about who would I feed on. Would I feed on animals? It didn't work out for Louis. I'd have to feed on people, right? Who would I feed on? Maybe I'd feed on, I don't know, murderers. Then I'm a murderer. You see? It's a tough one. Like, it's a tough one. Maybe if someone tried to rob me, I'd feed on that person, but then I'd wouldn't feed on them too much. Where I'd feed on them. Are they dead? No. All right, I'm gonna call the police, call 911, get you an ambulance, and then hopefully they give you they give you a blood, like not a blood draw. They like, I forgot what's the word. Well, they pump blood back into your body. You know. But hey, you tried to rob me. Another thing too that I didn't think about is that what if I had to make another vampire? Like I'd have to ask, right? I can't just. I wouldn't want to force it onto somebody, you know. Just. But Lestat, in an interview with the Vampire, he always said he was given the choice he never had. That's why he was made. But then I guess if I were to ask someone if they want to be a vampire, there'd have to be a good reason to. You know, are they near death, or they just thought like, I want to be immortal too? Like I'd have to really ask them like, are you sure you want to be a vampire? Are you really sure? Are you positive? I mean, it is fun and games, but there's some consequences that come with it, you know. I won't be able to eat Popeye's chicken anymore. Oh man, thinking about that actually frightens me. That frightens me. But if I did have to make somebody, actually I don't know. I want to know what I would want out of them. That'd be crazy. I'd have a progeny though. Someone who would take after me just in case someone comes in to my, if I have a coffin, wants to give me the old stake to the heart, or if I, walk into the sunlight by accident, just because it wasn't worth the time. Like, oh, I've been in the dark for so long, I didn't know what time it was. Everything's sealed in my house. There's no light coming in. We have to check the clock. I basically would have a secretary. I'd have someone who would help me out. Like, hey, hey, don't go out yet. What time? Wait, what time is it? It's like, it's it's 5:30 p.m. Okay, isn't the sun down by now? No, it's daylight saving, so the sun is still up. Crap. All right, just wake me up around 9. But then traveling would be easier, right? But then I don't know how far vampires can fly from one place to another. They're not like Superman flying, from what I've seen in the stuff I've watched in media, entertainments. Like, do they still have to catch a plane? I think in True Blood they caught a plane. They had to stay in a coffin though. So if I were to want a vacation to, I don't know, to Japan, I'd have to I'd have to go in as cargo, or do I pay for a ticket, but my seat would be in the cargo because I can't be near the windows because of the sunlight. But then again, that just depends on what time you're flying out. What if you're flying out at night? Would that be alright? But then when you land, it's going to be daylight, so then you have to sleep in your coffin in the cargo area. That kind of sucks. But can the flight attendants wake you up for for when it's time to eat? What are they gonna bring me? Hopefully, like maybe a vial of blood or something. Like, here you go, sir. Would you like O positive, AB negative today, or blood type B positive? I would say B positive because I'm feeling positive for this trip. Like, here you go, sir. Thank you. All right. Leave me alone now. Hold on. Well, I think if you were to be any mythological creature, they all have their ups and downs. I think I would just choose to be a vampire. But I just have to hope that I still could be myself. Unless when you become a vampire, like I think I mentioned before, I guess maybe that's one of the powers of being a vampire, but your mind becomes vampiric, so maybe you won't be yourself, or you'll still be yourself, but you might be either, you could be at a neutral base, or you're probably just going to be pure evil, like Dracula, or the guy from Fright Night, or the Buffy vampires. Yeah. I feel like werewolves might have it better. But then you can't touch... That's the thing, too. I know vampires are weak against silver, though. But they can't die from silver. That's what I heard. That's what I saw in True Blood or some other things. Or in Blade. Silver just, like, burns. Doesn't kill them. But, like, for werewolves, they have to die by a silver bullet. So, like, they have to get shot in the heart by a silver bullet. I'll make another video about werewolves now, because one of my favorite movies is Ginger Snaps. I'll talk about that in another video, but I love that movie. And speaking of werewolves, like in Underworld, there was like a war between vampires and werewolves. Do I have to be part of that war? I've always said, like, war sucks. I just care about there are people in wars that are involved in the wars that don't want to be there. So I care about those. They just want to get out. So I'm probably going to be... what if I'm one of those vampires that don't want to be in the war? Can I just sit back and just go to the sit back, play video games, go to the bar? Vampire bars, if there will be any. If there is any. That'd be cool if there was. Like, in True Blood there was. I keep talking about that show a lot. It should presented the vampire life. Maybe that's what I'm basing it off. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got for today. For this video. So anyways, there's that. Hope everyone has a good day. Would I be doing that too? Would I be hissing all the time? I mean, it'd be fun. I wouldn't mind hissing at people. I wish I could do that today, especially at my job. Like, it's when customers piss me off, I could just get away from me. That's one of the pros of probably would be as a vampire. They piss me off. It's my fangs. Shut up. Yeah, walk away. Jesus. Anyways. Another thing I realized though is that scare acting would be really fun as a vampire. That would be an easy job to get. Yeah, I could just, if I could teleport, if I'm allowed to, as if the powers were given to me, just teleport everywhere in each part of the maze and just scare the crap out of everybody, and they'd wonder like, how'd you get there so fast? And be like, I go, I actually am a vampire. I could be a one-man haunted maze. But that's if my teleporting was really fast, though. Yeah, that would be cool.